Welcome everyone to today's episode for Double D Experience. Today's going to be a bit of a specialized episode. We're going to primarily be talking about Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And that's going to be our central topic for today. We might steer a little bit away from it as well, but today I at least feel we should, me and David, as two avid gamers of the gamer community with not that much community impact as far as like the widespread community is concerned, we have a lot of thoughts on this. And I think as far as what it symbolizes and how historic, and it also being historically significant as far as like the next couple of 10, 15 years down the road, long term specifically. Yeah. Like, I feel as if like me and David, we should give our thoughts on it. And for today's intro, we got sometimes sexually harassing, sometimes in the news, but always being bought out by Microsoft.
That might have been the best one yet.
I actually had it written down on my notes here. And guys, believe it or not,
coming prepared.
Literally today, this was like maybe something that I might do for the future episodes as well. Like, I wrote down notes specifically for this one just because at least this was like a very significant event as far as like people within our audience, and maybe some others not, but like for most of us, this is something that does concern us. And I brought like my A game to the fucking note taking. I swear to you, like this would be me just jotting shit down in a notepad, but I pulled up Google Docs, so like I just wrote all that shit on there.
I love it when Dennis takes charge.
He also loves it when I'm actually prepared for an episode.
That's not true at all.
No, I know.
But today, as what Dennis is saying, is that today we're taking the Leaning Tower of Pizza
and
we're just a little more structure.
Yeah, just straighten it out just a little bit more.
We're putting some really shitty nails in the bottom of it that it's going to hold it down for like one episode. And then as soon as the next one comes around, you're going to hear a and they're going to break off, and it's like, whoa, there it goes again. Oh. But yeah, no, I'm hyped either way. Me too. Me too.
And so I guess, so just to start off, just to summarize the news a bit, so Microsoft has acquired Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion.
And before we get into that, real quick, the reason we didn't talk about it last week, I need to explain. Like, why are you guys so late to the party? It's been like 2 weeks. Like, bro, why are you guys so late to this party? You guys don't understand, right? So
was it the night of?
It was the very next morning.
Oh, that's why.
The very next morning, we recorded the podcast the Monday of last week.
Yeah,
and it was uploaded the Friday. And then Tuesday fucking morning, the next morning is when that news dropped and the internet exploded and the gaming community exploded. And we had just recorded a podcast about none of that.
We did talk about Blizzard, though.
That's the worst part, is that we talked about them too right before the news dropped. So I tried to clickbait the title a little bit more to make it Microsoft just purchased Nintendo. Because ironically enough, we talked about the time that Microsoft tried to buy Nintendo,
which I didn't know about. Yeah,
back in the 2000s, and they got laughed out of the room because they wanted to put Mario on Xbox. And,
but now Xbox is gonna be having Overwatch. I mean, actually, no. Overwatch already was on Xbox at least.
Yeah, but who knows? A couple years down the line,
but now they actually own them. Yeah. That's the fucking thing.
They could pull Overwatch off of PlayStation in a couple of years, potentially. And to bring up some news for that, they have said as of now, they plan to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation up until COD 2023. But after that, they might pull it.
They might pull it, but at the very least.
Holy fuck, if they pull COD off of PlayStation, bro, oh my, that's a dent.
No, I think, to be fair, David, that's a bit more of a dent. Just because of right now, at least like based on like how I felt about it, like on my notes, I honestly think this acquisition was Xbox essentially getting rid of competition, essentially. And, okay, listen. Before we get really into the meat and the nitty-gritty of this.
Teddy Roosevelt didn't die for this.
Teddy Roosevelt did not think that an entire corporation that is solely, at least not solely, but like who we know of, a lot of people, at least Microsoft know, we know of them as like primarily like a gaming company, but they're obviously far more than that. They're like cloud computing first before anything else as far as like what they're developing. But all right, so David, you can give your thoughts first because I have a pretty. I'm not gonna go on and say it's not like a kind of a loser and say like, oh, I have a bit of a nuanced like sort of view on it, but I do have my opinions on this because there's more than one, honestly.
Oh boy.
So you can go first and say your thoughts on this whole acquisition.
On the acquisition first.
Yeah,
not
and then also
about.
we'll go on our thoughts into as far as like the long term. Is this good for gamers? Is this not? Like,
okay.
What is this gonna mean for the next like kind of 20 years from now, maybe even more? Oh yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. Like, how'd you feel? Like when you first heard it?
Well, my jaw dropped. I ain't gonna lie. Let me just fucking swallow this fucking thing I got in my mouth. See, us voice actors, we take care of our throats with these little things called lozenges, and we shove these lozenges down our throat to make it so it's nice and crystal clear, and it feels really good. But I'm chewing on it right now. It's making a bunch of obnoxious sounds in the mic. Okay, hi, ready, hi. Double D Experience is the titty and the name.
So just for continuity's sake, what was your initial thoughts as far as the?
Thank you for actually asking me a question. I don't know why I had a fucking brain fart right there. It's because it's a loaded question. You know
I know it is, but that's why I'm just saying, like, you could take your time with it. Like, what was your initial thoughts when you found out that morning?
My jaw dropped because it was the last thing that I was expecting to hear. Activision Blizzard, as you all know, has been a company under such insane scrutiny for so many reasons. I just remember when the worst thing that they did was censor a guy and take away his prize money for saying, I don't like China. and then firing the commentators, which hurts me because, as you all know, I am an esports caster. I've done that for years. It's funny enough, I actually did cast a Smash tournament for a couple of sets last night, and I had a good time. Not that that's ever going to be my main focus again, but, you know, it was just something to do while I find myself. Anyway, honestly, my jaw dropped. My first thought, honestly, if we want to talk about initial thoughts, is that I'm like, this could be good, because I think they're going to clean up. Because there's not a chance in hell that they purchased Activision Blizzard
for 68.7, not million, fucking billions, which was exponentially more than what they paid for Bethesda and even Mojang. It's fucking nuts.
You guys can't see it right now, but I'm doing the Dr. Evil pinky.
Yeah.
$68.7 billion.
And then now I'm also thinking, why didn't Microsoft just go and why didn't they just buy them out for 69 for the memes?
Yeah.
Why couldn't they just pay the extra $3 billion just for the memes?
Maybe those memes wouldn't have been the most appropriate, and that's why they decided to lowball a couple million down.
Oh no, wait, 300 million.
No, just because of the sexual, harassment scandals and stuff. To be like, we bought the company that's known for diddling their female employees.
It's conspiracy theories now. I'm this is coming from my head, so it's like I'm just joking, but yeah, continue, David.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm no businessman, but my first thought is that honestly, I thought it was going to be good. Because there's no way that they purchased this company for that much money if they weren't going to clean house. Because first of all, they're going to make a lot of that money back. Activision not even just has the big names, like Call of Duty and like Blizzard and Overwatch and like, World of Warcraft and all that stuff. And despite the declining quality of pretty much all of those games, they also have a big stench on the mobile market with Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Which is one of the biggest
King,
mobile games.
I think was the company name.
Yeah, and so they're going to get that money back eventually in spades, but at the same time, Activision Blizzard is a company that's under tremendous scrutiny. We don't even need to go through the list of all the fucked up things that they've done. Yeah. They drove a woman to suicide by, like, sharing naked pictures of her. Used to have, like, drunk bar crawls where they used to, like, crawl around in the office drunk and, like, while in the women's cubicles while they were working, like, parade them around at parties and stuff like that. Really, really fucked up shit. Does that sound like a company that you would want to have associated with your brand name? If you ask me, the answer is nah. There's a specific reason that many reasons that they have strayed away from the Smash community as long as they have. And I'm not saying the main reason is because, they're the Smash community, as much as I've grown with it, can be pretty fucking cringe sometimes. It's also because Nintendo just didn't need to. So this here, my friend, my first thought is, I have to say, my first thought, like minus the games or anything, is I was hoping that it could be good just for the employees who, as of right now, have spoken their minds on it. They're concerned because to them everything is also just up in the air. They don't know what's going to happen as much as we do. So I'm hopeful that a legitimate company like Microsoft could maybe help clean up, but we don't know that. You know, for all we know, it could get worse, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I personally, at least before I give my thoughts on it, just kind of going off of your last thought there. From what I heard, at least, from a lot of other YouTubers who I've listened to talking about this specifically, Linus Tech Tips, and I think even one of my favorite. He's one of my favorites, and plus, Actman did a whole 20-minute video about like his thoughts about like the whole acquisition, and they both kind of said that at least Microsoft's workplace culture is infinitely better than Blizzard, which, I mean, to be fair, the bar is not really that high to surpass, so let's just get that out of the way. Yeah, it's like, we're not toxic in the workplace culture.
We opened a Chuck E. Cheese next to Freddy Fazbear's, and no kids got murdered in our establishment. We're doing it. Yes.
So, at the very least, the bar is set low, but it's still, at the very least, still better than whatever the fuck Activision Blizzard had within their workplace culture. From what I've heard, at least, we have not like confirmation or whatever, but at least we can kind of rest easy knowing that the employees from Blizzard are going to be transitioning over to a far better workplace environment than fucking whatever Activision Blizzard and their cronies were basically offering to everybody else. My whole, I guess now going on to my thoughts about this whole fucking thing, was very, it ranged, it had its highs and lows, because at the very least, I was happy that, not because they got acquired, but I was happy that at least like these workers, for the most part, like the bad ones, at least I'm hoping are going to be like kind of thrown out, and the good ones are going to be kept in if they so choose, because Blizzard, Activision Blizzard specifically, is a pretty sizable company. I didn't look up at least how much people like they work there, but as far as the developer side of things, that's a lot of people that if, let's say, Microsoft was going to be one of those companies that basically just kind of completely just tabula rasa, like completely clean slate it and like just hire new people, I'm pretty sure like even they realize, as far as fiscally speaking, that's not at the very least fiscally responsible, because that's a lot of developers that you now have to basically headhunt and like bring to the company. And they're gonna keep on a lot of the guys that are already there, I feel. And for all the good ones, they're gonna have them stay, or at least like give them incentives to stay. The bad ones, I'm pretty sure like whoever has been on that list of like sexual harassment allegations, like obviously they're gonna be out, because Microsoft and even people, I don't know if they seem to remember, but Phil Spencer took a pretty hard stance as to like all the shit that they were doing over there, and it was pretty public too. Like, and he was going on like a I don't look at Twitter, because fuck Twitter, but this was actually one of the few times when I was note taking that I actually looked through tweets from people for the first time in my life. And
yeah, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, and he has like pages upon pages of tweets, like basically just going on about like what the fuck like was going on over there, and his own thoughts. He basically criticized it to the extreme and said it was basically like an affront to humanity almost, and
threatened to pull the games from the platform as well.
Yeah.
Like, the workplace culture didn't change right there, but why?
And then what does he do? He's like brings out his big dick and just like says, "Here's $68 billion. I'm here to buy your company."
You beat me to it, you asshole. I was gonna say he just like
literally
he took out that slog. It's just like, if you can't, wait for them to change, I'll make them change. He literally took what's the old saying? What's the old saying? If you can't beat them, join them.
Or no, if you can't beat them, buy them.
Yeah.
That's what he fucking did. And I'll even go on to say like this bit too. Like, dude, it is insane how much. Like, I think Microsoft's been valued around like the trillions. So it's $1 trillion company. And so they got capital and liquid assets that they could just blow for acquisitions and whatever they want to like essentially buy.
Yeah.
And it's still, I don't know if I don't think this is the biggest business acquisition in history, but dude,
might be the biggest one in gaming, right?
68.7 billion. That's more than the GDP of certain fucking countries. It's fucking nuts, man. It's fucking crazy. It's nuts.
Bill Gates gave away your net worth to AIDS research.
It's almost. It really is just nuts to even think about that, because I think Apple, Microsoft, all the FAANG companies like Netflix and all the others, and even Amazon, obviously, they're also valued at the trillions. And when I heard the news, I was, like I said, I was initially kind of happy, because I was happy for the employees that they're finally going to be getting the fuck out of that workplace culture, and at the very least, they're going to clean up, and they're going to clean up shop. But because I know Phil Spencer, he is going to clean up shop. Yeah. He's going to make good on his promise on that. I know that for a fact.
Bobby Cockdick is out as soon as the deal is finalized, which
is not till next year, yeah, for the fiscal year of 2023. So it's going to be still a year that we have this fucking parasite on this company. And it's also a shame, because I believe I did write down that this guy he's apparently still part of the deal until 2023. But this guy is also going to be taking a paycheck before he basically cashes out and leaves. Which is kind of a shame, because obviously in a perfect world, we wish this guy would have gotten nothing out of this deal.
A perfect world, I wish he would have gotten hit by a bus.
That too, yeah.
Have you ever watched him in interviews?
I saw him in that one kind of interview that he had with Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
And he talks, and he reminds me of Vern Troyer. I could not believe that this guy was real. This guy looks like a straight up goblin. On the news.
I'm being real, man. I could see oh god, you're right.
He looks like Vern Troyer.
He does a little bit. God rest his soul.
Yeah, same. We all love Vern.
If you know who Vern Troyer was, he was Mini-Me.
Yeah.
In Austin Powers.
Beloved.
So we're talking about Austin Powers a lot more than I thought we would in this fucking show.
Let's stay focused on this.
I think this deal is groovy, baby. Yeah. But seriously though, I'm saying at the point, if you've seen him in interviews, man, and I'm not. Maybe this is the Latin in me coming out. I was talking with Remy a lot yesterday. I'm being real for a second. I could see the devil in that man's eyes. I'm serious.
The lack of humanity.
I looked in his eyes, and I could just feel it. That real crazy spacey smile he had on that news network. It's ugh. God, it's just.
He looks as if he has some work done, some Botox or some shit. He doesn't
got that
look
much money to swing around, and you hate yourself.
He doesn't look natural, is what I'm saying.
Fondle every 17-year-old intern's ass that walks around through Activision Blizzard, and you hate yourself just enough to do that. Yeah, I'll make myself look a little bit different. Fucking piece of shit. So he's unfortunately going to be around for another year. Yes.
Yeah, but by the beginning of 2020, which has actually trumped crypto as far as Google search terms is considered. It actually trumped it, believe it or not.
NFTs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, because every
I know, but it's it also makes you think is this thing here to stay, for real? But anyways, moving on from that.
That's a completely separate topic. We're not.
Yeah, moving on from that. But so real quick, compared to the other acquisitions that Microsoft has already acquired in their umbrella at this point. They've acquired the mobile game maker Zynga from Take-Two Interactive for $12.6 billion, as well as Microsoft's acquisition of Skyrim and Fallout publisher Bethesda for $7.5 billion. That was in 2021, I believe. And also going off of it real quick, everyone has to remember, Microsoft is not a solely gaming company. They are not a company that just builds Xboxes and then that's it. They are also your operating systems that everyone uses. They're also the cloud system that everyone uses. Azure is also another big thing of theirs that they love to advertise a lot. And Azure is kind of up there with a lot of the other cloud-based computing systems like AWS from Amazon and a few others. Going to the negatives, because I don't want to be riding Microsoft's dick all day. I don't know if anyone out there, I know David doesn't really know because he's not a Microsoft I guess. Like, he doesn't really play too many Microsoft games as far as that concerned. Like, I play...
The last Xbox I owned was the 360.
Yeah.
And, I haven't, yeah, I guess that's true. I haven't really played too much of, like, Microsoft's intellectual properties besides, like, Banjo, technically. But, like, that's, Banjo. It's completely different. He's back on Nintendo where he belongs. So.
And I've been playing Halo Infinite for a pretty long while, ever since it came out on December 8th. Oh, I mean, it came out even earlier than that. The multiplayer dropped like 2 weeks before the campaign was supposed to drop on December 8th. And which I think was a fucking Chad move on 343's part, because like that, you don't see that a lot ever as far as releases go. And here's the thing, Microsoft has acquired, one thing that I'm going to talk about is that they've acquired tons of titles. Tons of IPs under their umbrella. There's tons of first-party studios that are all under their umbrella, right? A lot of them haven't done shit with those IPs. They've done nothing ever since their acquisitions. One of them being is Elder Scrolls 6, which everyone is obviously excited to fucking know about and hear about, but all we got, what did we get? We got that little teaser trailer that just showed 3 characters. And then nothing else after that. We got nothing after that. And
Crash and Spyro getting revived only to be put right back down in the grave again. It's like fucking Weekend. They treated those characters like they were freaking Weekend at Bernie's, bro. Like they pulled them out of the grave, propped them up for a little bit, swung them around, this and that.
Then they got like the puppet strings and just like moved them around like the little marionettes we see on the street performers.
It's a new Crash, look.
And then they just like hucked them into the fucking dumpster again for like, or like even just threw them in cold storage until whenever they gonna bring them back again. And
you're fucking Frank Reynolds, bro. As soon as they were dead again, just throw them in the trash. As soon
and
as they were done.
And I don't know if anyone has had. I've had some pretty bad experience with Microsoft's servers, primarily speaking on their multiplayer side of things. And I've been playing Halo Infinite for a while already, since the launch of their multiplayer, and it has some issues. And it has had, like, Microsoft has had these issues as far as the multiplayer servers are concerned for years now. And literally, if one thing crashes, everything crashes. And since all of their shit is based on the cloud and everything, like, that's where like they're running all of their traffic like into. And going back to a lot of those IPs, them buying a lot of Activision Blizzard stuff. So now they have Overwatch, Diablo, StarCraft, WoW, King, Candy Crush. I mean, I don't really care about Candy Crush, but for all you out there who think this is like a godsend and Microsoft is going to revitalize that franchise, I guess more power to you. But like
Hearthstone, World of Warcraft.
Yeah, Hearthstone, like every single one of them. Like even Hearts of the Storm, like Heroes of the Storm. Sorry, Hearts of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm, which is
and obviously MOBA. Call of Duty.
And Call of Duty, yeah. So I mean, if we're gonna be talking specifically on the developing side of things, like this could mean very good things because a lot of those franchises, not that they were dead, like COD is just too big to die. It is like this corpse that is being run by all these IVs into it and just making sure that it never dies. It'll stay alive. It'll keep breathing. It'll have a heartbeat. It'll stay the fuck alive because we can't afford it to essentially like die.
It's alive.
No, but it's not even like that scene though. It's like the very fact that it never died. It just won't fucking die.
And I will
it just will be always propped up by something.
Somebody to accentuate Dennis's point, Call of Duty Zombies is one of my favorite games ever made. I think it's one of the greatest arcade, like horde-based, like
I wish it was its own game.
Ever. A lot of us did. I don't
give a fuck about the regular COD at all.
And just to let you all know how obscenely, unequivocally, bottom of the barrel, piss stains covered in cum bad the Zombies in COD Vanguard is, I will just leave it at this: you cannot pause. You can't pause the game. When you're playing by yourself, you can't pause. And guess what? You still can't pause. Months later, after the game dropped, And I'm not filling up a podcast with how horrible that COD Vanguard Zombies is. And it's insane how much it's united the zombies community because we all love a lot of the different games. And just instantly, unanimously, unequivocally holding hands. You know, like that meme where like all the action heroes are like gripping their hands together and stuff like that. And they're talking about what they come through. It's literally knowing Vanguard is fucking trash. That was the worst Call of Duty in I don't even know how long.
And here's the thing. COD has had its bad games.
Oh yeah,
there's plenty of them in its history. There's plenty of them. This has got to be like the top of the worst. If there was a shit pile, they're on top.
And the last two were really good. Cold War I thought was fantastic. Modern Warfare I have not heard really many bad things about.
It was
at all.
I heard it was it's good, and that was it. Like no one really had anything too crazy, anything to say about it. But and going off of my point again, it looks as if perhaps we could see some new life into these franchises with the acquisition from Microsoft, because there's really not, there really was, they looking back before the acquisition was Microsoft Blizzard. I guess it really is Microsoft Blizzard now instead of Activision Blizzard at this point.
Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, but no one gives a fuck about Activision.
Can we just abbreviate that to MAB? Like the business world should just
MAB.
abbreviate it to MAB.
Yeah.
They should.
I actually wrote AB.
Think that's one specific stock. They're gonna think how's the MAB today?
I wrote AB for my fucking notes because Activision Blizzard sounded way too fucking long, so I just wrote AB as to abbreviate it.
It doesn't even roll off the tongue, man.
No, it really doesn't.
I wish they just absolved the name Blizzard when Activision bought them initially, and then it's just Activision for everything. But
But Blizzard's just their...
It's a big part of the IP, it's a big part of their brand and their recognizability and stuff like that, so... Yeah.
And so, I mean, a lot of these franchises could perhaps, again, just to reiterate, they could have a new breath of life, breathed into them. Because, hell, they really did need it. If we're even talking about, certain franchises like Diablo, which everyone's still waiting for Diablo 4. I don't know what the fuck this acquisition is going to, basically do as far as the workflow by the end of 2023, because we still heard nothing about Diablo 4 at all. StarCraft has just been, put on a life support system since basically the last expansion from 2016. World of Warcraft, it still has a massive player count within their community, but the last expansion wasn't exactly well received by their fans. And so, I mean, as far as that goes, I think there's a chance that they can be brought back from the dead. However, though, and this is going to kind of go into the negatives now, for the long term, and if people think that this is not a monopoly, you are fucking stupid. I am sorry that you truly feel that, but this, by all intents and purposes, and even within definition, it's a fucking monopoly. And here's the thing, though, too.
Explain.
Because of the fact that right now, there's three of them: Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. But usually, right now, it's always been like this. Sony and Microsoft has always been in the boxing ring. They've always been duking it out right now. They've always been doing it. This trading blows every year. It's oh, your console sucks. Your console sucks. Your mother could suck my dick. There's just a lot of trash talking going along from the two of them. And Nintendo's just outside of the stadium playing with trucks on the fucking parking lot. just doing its own fucking thing. I heard that analogy, and it's it's as perfect as the one that we made a long time ago about Nintendo. They've always done their own thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, is that I think because of also the reason why that Xbox and even Microsoft, for that matter, is leading as far as that race goes, is the popularity of Game Pass. And as far as subscription-based gaming is concerned as well, they're leading in that front. And Sony even said that we're going to be trying to bring our own system into our own ecosystem as well. But here's the thing. Ever since that acquisition, it won't matter dick what you bring to that subscription service whatsoever. And
unless
Nintendo
Sony buys Nintendo.
Even then, will it be enough? I doubt it. Because even Nintendo has their own subscription-based service, which everyone knows is dog shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking god-awful. I read it about it, and everyone's reactions to it, and especially even their opinions on it, and I think even David can agree with this, is fucking horrible. It is horrible. As far as a subscription-based gaming service is concerned, Microsoft, then David, I know you have your own qualms about Game Pass, but you say what you want about it. It is an excellent service.
I don't have any qualms with Game Pass at all. I think Game Pass is a great deal.
You said you didn't like it a couple of episodes back.
What are you talking? Did I?
Yeah. You had a very strong anti-Game Pass opinion about it. You didn't like it whenever I brought it up.
What are you talking about? I definitely didn't.
You didn't have a smile on your face whenever I brought it up, though.
You couldn't see. We didn't have the webcams on.
I know you didn't, though.
Are you sure you're not confusing Game Pass with NFTs?
No. It was Game Pass. It was early on when we were recording.
I don't even remember how much Game Pass is. I don't think I have that strong of an opinion of it. Everybody I know,
15?
people I know who are reputable, like, for me personally, like some gaming
I think.
YouTubers that I love, like, you know, those opinionated types that you love, like Ackman and stuff like that.
Yeah,
For me, that's Arlo. I love Arlo. He does game reviews, you know, covers game news.
I actually
and stuff like that.
a lot of his stuff when I watched him.
He made a 16-minute video about, like, the, I should have fucking watched it before this, man, because, I mean, I watched the video already, but it was, like, a week or two ago. I don't remember, like, everything he said, but he made a pretty long, he made, like, a 16-minute or so video about the acquisition as well, you know, hopeful that it would change stuff, you know, like, some concerns about, like, it being a monopoly and how Game Pass, you know, to bring this back to the Game Pass, is how it was already a great deal, and now it just got even better. Bigger
and better.
We got Call of Duty is owned by Activision now, and then we got Crash and Spyro coming back, potentially. Like, Dennis, what year is it? What year is it, bro, that this stuff is happening?
But at the same time, going back to, like, how this is definitely a Microsoft monopoly at this point. Because,
explain.
Because right now, with that $68.7 billion acquisition, they've wiped out competition for a long time. There is no one that's going to be competing with them. Not Sony. They're beating them on console sales, from what I've read. But that's about it. There's really, what has Sony got in their pipeline? As far as, like, people even seem to kind of forget that Sony's also been porting a lot of their games into which ecosystem? Not Xbox, into PC, which is also like Microsoft's realm as well. So,
I know what to do. Sony should make.
Tell me, David. Tell me.
Sony. Sony. Easy clap. All they gotta do is make their own PCs. With graphics cards, like the Sony P7 Penis 80
PCS
that run like fucking butter, but aren't impossible to crypto mine on. And then people will switch to that because they can get those graphics cards for like $5.
Just yank them out of the fucking console, and then literally profit. That's like. Dude,
I'm just fucking memeing. Like, what can Sony do about that? Like, real talk, you're right.
Like, literally, like, Microsoft just whipped out their massive 12-inch dong and just said, your move. Like, literally, like, what are they going to do at this point?
You may remove the dong off of the chess table if you have the strength to lift it. Or you can do the proper thing and just start sucking it since it can reach all the way to your side of the table, motherfuckers.
Dude, I'll even be real. I'm gonna even be real right now. Like, Sony, do you remember?
Nintendo's just in the back, just like, I don't like dick, so it's fine.
You know what Nintendo is right now? Nintendo is that, like, femboy that has, like, that strap on, like, attached to them, and it's not like a 12-inch dick, but it's a 6-inch dick. But, like, Microsoft is out there with, like, its big American penis, you know, compared to
femboy,
like,
wouldn't they have a dick?
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all right, but
femboys don't need no strap-ons.
It's a femboy that is still gonna fuck Sony. Is what I'm saying. Like, Sony right now is not the top. It's not top. I'm sorry. If I'm going to be breaking it down to, like, the most, like, crudest analogy, Sony is going to get fucked if they don't do something in the next, like, 10, 15 years. But who do they got to acquire now at this point? They have nothing. Like, as far as, like, that whole, like, market of, like, potential acquisitions. I don't want to call it that, but it's like it is what it is. Like,
and they're not going to buy Nintendo because then Nintendo can't sell their fucking hardware. Because that's, as we mentioned in the last episode, when Microsoft tried to buy Nintendo, that was when Microsoft was a lot more naive in the gaming market and these business acquisition things. Now. And now they're a giant, and it's different. They're going to have COD on PlayStation for a couple of years still. Potentially even forever still. They might not pull it from PlayStation at all, but they very well might if they can at some point, and like enough people buy these Xboxes, which they might with the way that the PC market is, like, you know, with NFTs and cryptos being impossible to get these things. Back then, the reason that deal went tits up and they literally got laughed out of the room was they wanted Nintendo to stop making consoles. They wanted, like, to put the Nintendo IPs on Xbox, and then they just turned to each other and like, Miyamoto-san, and then they just left.
They didn't even like tell them to get out. They just laughed and kept laughing until they left. That's
I'm
how
pretty
it
sure that
went.
is literally what happened. Like, and this was in like 1999, 2001, when like right around when the GameCube was dropping and stuff, things were moving 3D. They're like, oh, this would be huge for us if we could get them here, and like the new, like the biggest graphical upgrade in history, or as it seemed at the time, from polygons to millions of polygons. And that just didn't happen because they're like, Nintendo's going to stop making hardware. And then they realized, like, yeah, we'll get a big payout here, like, from you just buying the company. But now we're not going to make any money in the future just off of our games. Like, we're not going to make money off hardware anymore. Do you know who the fuck we are? We invented this industry. Like, we're not doing that. So,
they're the kings. Or, like,
so
not the
what's
kings, but, like,
Sony going to do?
founder.
The Switch is on its way. Yeah, exactly. They're the founder.
Yeah.
You know, they paved the way for these companies.
Yeah.
And, so what the fuck is Sony going to do? The Switch is, like, already on its way to becoming the best-selling Nintendo console ever, among the best-selling consoles ever at this point. What is Sony gonna do? You're gonna be like, oh, you should stop making those, and you should put your games on the console that no one can fucking get. Like, years later after it dropped, that no one can still fucking get. Buying Nintendo for Sony, that's not an option. They're in their own lane. They're in the parking lot. They're playing with the little trucks in the corner, having fun with their own things for 5 more years. For 5 more years, because that's how long the Switch's lifespan is going to be. It's only halfway through. That is the Nintendo has gone on record and said that. They did a press release about that. So buying Nintendo to get like the only IPs that they could possibly have to compete with Microsoft here, not an option.
It's gone.
What are you going to do? You're going to invent a bunch of little characters and like... We're gonna make like 6 new IPs, and they're gonna be such fucking heat. What are they gonna do?
Like, you know what it was also? Like, freaking Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard. Like, imagine a lake. Microsoft literally just took a straw to that lake and just sucked up all the water from it, and just basically said, told Sony, oh yeah, it's your turn now.
No, please. You've never seen There Will Be Blood, right?
No.
Oh, you still haven't seen that movie? Oh my god, you're gonna love that movie when you see it. There's a very iconic scene towards the end of it, because that movie's about an oil tycoon. Who like works with like a local town leader to like build an oil rig and stuff in their town. And by the end of the movie, when he's like a really, really successful one, and he's berating the guy like for trying to make reparations with him, he makes an analogy as to how he's like sucking out his resources dry. Like, this is what Daniel Day-Lewis does, all crotchety and drunk and shit, just walking around. He's like, oh, Levi, if you have a milkshake, and I have a milkshake, and I'm drinking my milkshake, but I have a giant straw, and I'm all the way over here, and I put my straw in your milkshake, just like that. And I just... I drink your milkshake! And then he just beats the shit out of him until he dies. That's exactly what's happening here.
They literally just...
Microsoft drinks your milkshake!
They drained the lake, man. There's nothing left. I'd really think there's really nothing left that Sony could acquire.
You that fucking scene like immediately.
I might even watch that movie. I think I've heard of that movie.
It's a great fucking movie. It's one of his best actor performances. His 3 best actor awards he got from that film.
It's a bit of a star-studded cast, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's got some fine actors in it, but nobody like. No, not like massive names that you know off the top of your head. I mean,
like
I haven't
Daniel
seen
Day-Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, like Daniel Day-Lewis is pretty much the biggest name in that movie, obviously, and the other ones are, they're not like contemporary actors that you'll find in like every shitty movie that Hollywood puts out. But I haven't seen the movie in a hot minute either. It's a long movie, and it's fucking phenomenal. It is,
and
such
it's based on a historical event, right? Like it was just like actually something that happened.
no,
I
I don't.
sworn. It sounds like something.
No, it's not based on a true story. I think it's an original screenplay.
Okay.
But it's based on, history and like, the birth of like oil tycoons and stuff in America.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like the birth of that industry and all that jazz. It was one of Daniel Day-Lewis's best actor performances, along with when he played Abe Lincoln, and the other one when I think he played Bill the Butcher. That was his other one when I think he got like all those ones. So yeah, but like anyway, that's the analogy I'm making about like Microsoft. They drink your milkshake.
But here's the thing though too. They're gonna like back the milkshake into your cup, and like hopefully it's something that you like, because we still have we don't have any proof of whether or not, as far as like this is gonna be good for gamers. And that's gonna go off on my next point. Is this good for gamers in the next couple of years? I don't think so. Because effectively, again, if I was Microsoft, if I was like part of their board, I would be like having a party right the fuck now. Because that basically means that, again, this acquisition just made, for them, we wiped out competition. We bought wiping out competition for the next like 10, 15, maybe 20 years. Because there's really nobody that could compete with them at this point. Because as far as even Microsoft, like, this is part of their, at least, game side of things. But Microsoft, again, is a fucking huge-ass company, valued at the trillions. Leading in as far as cloud computing and a tons of other stuff as well. It's not just games that, like they're just, like, hoping sells and shit. And, like, Microsoft Store and a bunch of other, like, Microsoft Store is so fucking terrible. This is the reason why I know that multiplayer side of things, and as far as their servers are concerned, is always a fucking problem. And I hope to God, at least in the 10, 15 years, if they could fix that, maybe I might change my tune. I don't know. But your servers, Microsoft, you better fix them pronto.
That would be Microsoft. Go ahead.
Before anyone plays fucking Overwatch or whatever the fuck. And again, it makes me think, like, too, like, for as far as like after this acquisition, right? We're not gonna see the effects of it until even years afterwards, because it's not like that Microsoft is just gonna, right after that, like, it's just gonna take like a day where they're gonna reformat and like completely change up, shake up the companies, like, especially Activision Blizzard. They're gonna like shake it up. It's gonna take a while, and that I think it's not going to happen really until after 2023, after the acquisition is set in stone and it's done with. And everyone already knows, like, he has to drain the swamp out of that too. And that's going to be already like perhaps even like a couple months to a year endeavor to like really just wipe it clean. That alone is going to take a while, I feel. And we're not going to see the effects of it until much later, but I really don't think, going back to it, I really don't think this is going to be good, because as far as competition is concerned, like, I don't think it's going to be good for us in the next couple of years, because as far as even like competition breeds better quality, and they have no competition right now. They're already leading as far as the subscription services are concerned with Game Pass, and I don't need Game Pass, but like, for whoever has used it and love it, this has already solidified it for them that, like, yeah, like, this whole thing, like, it just got bigger, that library. We're getting Blizzard games for Game Pass, and I don't need to download Battle.net's shitty fucking launcher to fucking play them. I could play them right off of my Xbox right there. Oh, shit.
I wonder what other company. I wonder what other.
Okay, I thought it was like a glass of water or something. I'm like, Dennis, no.
I wonder what other companies can learn a thing or two about shitty launchers and not using them.
Like EA's Origin, remember that, guys?
Or maybe ones of the shape variety. Mayhaps in a square. Those ones, huh?
Oh, fucking A. Give in to the steam. Free yourself of NFTs.
David, I want to ask, what do you think? As far as, do you think this will be good for gamers coming down, like, in the long term?
In the long term, that's the scary part, because that's the kind of stuff where monopolizing can sort of just make things bad, because when there's no other competition, it doesn't matter how good or shitty a service is. That is how things have held true for pretty much every company.
Since the beginning of monopolies.
Yes,
literally.
since the beginning of monopolies and period. And right now we got Teddy Roosevelt, like, rolling in his grave. He's like, what is a video game? I am most concerned with the monopolies that are happening while I am gracefully in the dead. Like, or something like that.
He's also looking at the number of that deal and just being like,
yeah. Like, it's probably going to revive him just so he could, like, die again, if we're being honest. God, we need another Teddy Roosevelt so bad.
We really do.
We really do.
Yeah,
None of these fuckers are going to do it. Anyway, they're
where's
either too old or too crotchety or too hateful.
Where's the antitrust on this shit? Honest, I'm surprised this hasn't, like, kind of, like... maybe a lot of the guys on that board have probably, like... I've been reading the news and shit, and they're kind of like... you haven't broken any rules yet, but we're keeping an eye on you. That's what all the antitrust like do. Like, that's all they do. Really. They don't really actually do anything. Even though, like, you see that deal, right? You see that money that they used to buy it. That doesn't make you go like, oh no, we got to get on this shit now. Right? But they haven't said nothing.
The thing is, it only comes to being a matter of integrity, which capitalism does not go hand in hand with.
No,
normally.
at all.
The thing
As we've learned.
These services, or Microsoft, who knows what they could implement years down the line with all these IPs that they have in hand that you might eventually have to play on only Xbox or PC, which, who knows, like, what's going to happen to the PlayStation after that is a totally different discussion. That's the scary part, is when you have one company that has all those different things from all those different kinds of companies. It's not even just a matter of how much money they make, it's a matter of how it's going to impact, how the service affects you. Because now they can essentially afford to make their services as good as they possibly can, but it's a question is, will they? Because guess what? They can also afford to make their services as shitty as they possibly can, because there's no other option. Right now, we are using a little service called Riverside to record our podcast. Yesterday, I was interviewed for a separate podcast, and it was recorded on Zoom. I could listen to how shitty the quality was. I could hear Remy's voice cutting in and out every now and again, because she's recording on an iPad on Zoom. But it's okay, because the quality will be better. Will be better later on down the line. Riverside, however, with the exception of only, like, really once, has steered us wrong, and ever since then they fixed it too when we emailed them about it, and they helped us out. Unlike the former podcast service that we used to use,
I even forgot
don't know if you
name.
remember Squadcast.
That's
Squadcast,
right.
which eventually started just fucking not recording half of Dennis's audio, and I had to scrub up the internet recordings every time for it, and we were paying a lot of money for that service. This is what capitalism is supposed to be. It's what our forefathers claim they intended. This competition where there's only cause to improve oneself against each other, because if you don't shape up, guess what? You're going to jump to a different service like me and Dennis did with Riverside, where we had no problems. But what if there are no other really services that can provide you what you really need?
It's like that fucking scene from South Park where, like, them cable guys are just rubbing their nipples. Like, that's Microsoft right now. In the next couple of years, it's going to be like, just... oh, sorry, you don't like our service? You can just try out the other ones. And there literally is no other ones.
You want to check out another cable oh, right, there isn't another cable company that services South Park. And that was designed on purpose, and no other industry has done that in the scummy way that they did to work towards that kind of capitalism by essentially benefiting each other by saying, this is our district, this is our district, this is our district. So I think it could be a big monopoly eventually, but there are still other companies where people only still do their own thing. There are a lot of people, Dennis, who are still only PC gamers, which in a way, yes, that supports Microsoft because they buy Windows, but Steam is the service that they use for that. There are a lot of people who are exclusively Nintendo gamers. Believe it or not,
and they have their own ecosystems as well in the community.
Exactly, yeah, but with like an acquisition as big as this, with how good of a deal Game Pass is, it could eventually really spell some good stuff, especially comparative to the PC market, with how it's really hard to get like a graphics card nowadays still because of NF testicles and crypto tards and all that dumb shit.
Yeah.
That hopefully, again, with a big change next year, will start to be taxed, and that'll change. But Xboxes are actually, and I can tell you this from working for Nintendo and being in these stores, Xboxes, not even just the S's, Series X's, are actually slowly but surely, they're becoming more available in stores. Faster than the PS5 is still, to this day, which, with this acquisition, eventually down the line, when the supply chain issues are over, which real talk is, it's going to be like another year, really.
Maybe two.
Yeah, maybe two. It depends. Yeah. I don't know. It might be one, might be two. We'll cross that bridge.
Depends on a lot of factors, which we're not going to get into, but that happens, it's still too soon to know.
Yeah, when that happens and they're available, that's my biggest concern with them sort of becoming a type of monopoly, is that now they can sort of afford to make the services as shitty as they possibly can be, because one thing sort of won. That is when capitalism fails. that's what all like the super pro communistic people who are saying it from a first world country under capitalism say that communism is better and better. Like this is what they were talking about. This is what Lenin was fucking talking about.
Marx.
And then with Marx, my mistake.
Yeah, his manifesto. Yeah.
Yeah. When they were talking about that, eventually, capitalism's really good, but eventually one company becomes too powerful, and that's when the trusts have to be broken again, and we have to do another Weekend at Bernie's, just like Activision did with Crash and with Spyro, and we gotta pull Teddy Roosevelt out the grave and prop him up like a puppet, and be like, rah, 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 stop this bad, too much money, and then break it up again. But it's a lot different nowadays than it was during his time, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of uncertainty, Dennis, so TLDR, who the fuck knows?
Who the fuck knows? That is true, but I think we should also be, especially if this acquisition that was something that a lot of you have been looking at and kind of underneath a magnifying glass, keep looking for the next couple years, because I feel as if whatever me and David have been talking about here might come true. It probably will come true in my personal opinion. And that's, I guess, our thoughts on that. But I wanted to ask one more question before we wrap this episode up, because this could go on for a long time, and then we'll just start spouting out bullshit for the next 30 minutes if we go past that limit.
The nails are coming out of the tower.
Literally, it's just the fucking radiators is already shaking so violently that the screws are just starting to come up now. But
it's gonna blow.
David, I wanted to ask, and this is also going to be going towards me as well. Was Activision Blizzard bound to happen? The acquisition, was it bound to happen considering how far they have fallen? Was Microsoft the lesser of the two evils as far as whoever had the money to buy them out? Just going into it just for a little bit. There were a lot of other companies that possibly could have bought out Activision Blizzard. They had the capital. One of them being Tencent, at least I thought initially, but which is a Chinese-based company that everyone I think here kind of knows about a little bit. Because they have a bit of a big share within Activision Blizzard, but Microsoft basically said fuck you Tencent and just took all the shares. Said fuck you. And looking into it now, I guess that probably wasn't going to happen, considering how China has been cracking down on gaming in the last couple of months. If anyone hasn't read the news, they've literally just been cutting down hours that you can game over there, which is fucking nuts. And I also thought maybe Amazon had it on the table that they perhaps would acquire them, just because of the fact that Amazon's also trying to make a presence in the gaming world right now as well. But I feel as if maybe this was something that they probably were thinking about a little too much, until Microsoft just basically came out with their 12-inch cock and just slammed it on the table in front of all of them. And that's literally right there. That's what they did. And
present them.
And I guess my whole thoughts on it is that is it the lesser of the two evils, at least as far as that question goes? I think yes.
But in comparison to Tencent
and even Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Any other potential buyer
Are you kidding?
that could have bought them out.
I wasn't even thinking about Amazon
Yeah.
or Tencent buying them. I think I absolutely would have preferred Microsoft buying them to Amazon. I mean, Amazon's not just a top company. They're not a top gaming company. If there would be a top gaming company, they're one of the top companies literally ever. But then again, so is Microsoft. So it is interesting point that you mentioned that, because you were talking about lesser of two evils, and then I was my first thought when you said that, I was compared to who? Sony? Nintendo? Who are you talking about? And then you're talking about big, thick companies. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Amazon, already has, their balls on so many different industries, and Microsoft has some too. But Microsoft is sort of a different boat where, at least all their industries are related. Amazon was a delivery service where they now own one of the most successful, fucking grocery store chains in the entire country. Same thing for books. Audiobooks and all that kind of stuff.
Imagine owning books.
They own Twitch. They own Twitch, so every time you donate to some girl, who doesn't even know you exist,
Bezos is just
you're giving half of that money to fucking Jeff
putting it in his pocket right
Bezos,
there.
you stupid, horny little child. So, honestly, if I had to pick the two, yeah.
Or the three, I guess, out of those out of those.
Or the 3 out of those, I
Yeah.
guess. Microsoft, at least Tencent. At least Microsoft, is I mean, obviously they have like their corporate Chinese backers and everything, but at least it's not a Chinese company. At least it's actually an American company that acquired it there. So
Yeah.
I gotta agree with Arlo in the sense that for the most part, in theory, I think this is the best fucking possible thing that could have happened to Activision Blizzard. This is
Yeah.
the best possible thing.
I
that could
agree
have
as
happened
well.
to that company because
I
their
agree as
stocks
well.
were tanking, and their money was no longer banking. And
And what
they
other-
were giving too many of their employees spankings. It was no good. So honestly, having this happen and the fact that Cocktease is eventually going to be out, among other things, if I had to pick the sort of lesser of two evils, yeah, I would have I think I would have preferred Microsoft buying them over Amazon and definitely over like a Chinese-based company
Like
as well.
Tencent.
Yeah, for sure. I think I am happy with how this went.
Yeah.
If I had to pick, yeah.
Yeah, if I had to pick as well, like I think definitely me and David could agree on that, just because at the very least, like again, like the scale of this fucking acquisition is unprecedented as far as like the gaming world is concerned. Like just the price tag of that fucking acquisition alone, it's almost unheard of in my opinion. Like I thought them buying out Bethesda and even Mojang a while back, like that was like, oh shit, that's like big money. And then it's like, nope, buying out Activision Blizzard was just them whipping out their company credit card and also their dick and just putting their dick first and then the credit card on top. It's like, you have to suck before you can buy or before the purchase goes through. Literally, like you have to suck to have it happen. And so as far as that is concerned, as far as the other choices that they had, like Blizzard literally had no other choice. They literally had nothing, like nothing else that they could have done to turn this around. As far as the situation was, like that, their image has been irreparably damaged at this point. Like, and it's gonna take a lot of house cleaning on the part of Phil Spencer and the rest of his guys to clean that up in the next couple of years. Because it's going to take a while to kind of clean that shit up. From the bottom, like top down, literally. I guess to clean everything out. And it's, I think for the most part, we did touch on like everything that I feel as if was important about this acquisition. I guess just to even summarize, like my whole thoughts are yay and nay, literally, for different parts of like the acquisition. I think for the workers, this is a good thing for them. And literally getting out of the again like the toxic workplace culture that they were living in and working in for a while now. I think that's a great thing for them, and I hope a lot of at least the good guys, the developers from even just HR assistants and everything, like they stay on and like, you know, because like that's like if and it's also good that Microsoft isn't just planning to just like completely just like Thanos snap like the entire company, but not just half, but like everybody.
Thanos snap the industry.
Yeah, like that's what they essentially did, and it's a good thing that at least like a lot of these people are going to be keeping their jobs. Like that's one thing that I'm at least kind of grateful for, at least for the people that are going to stay and like are the good ones. I also think that as far as Microsoft's multiplayer servers are concerned, a lot of these games are going to be inheriting those problems that I talked about. And if already you thought that the server issues that you had with COD was bad, imagine how bad Microsoft servers might be in the future too, if they don't turn that shit around. I've been playing Halo Infinite for so long already, I still get server crashes every now and then. And it bothers the shit out of me, considering like you are $1 trillion company. Do you not know what the fuck community servers are? Like, did you forget that that's a thing? And even, I think one of the YouTubers that I watch, I think Linus said it, that they're like, he's predicting that they're going to bring back community-based servers and they're going to say that it's a new thing and people are going to be like, yay, when it already existed literally fucking 10 years ago. Maybe even longer than that at this point. And I could see that too, honestly, coming down the road, because again, who has community-based servers other than a lot of like these cloud-based services like Microsoft?
I could think of a couple other technologies that were rebranded as new technologies that certain dipshits are going crazy over right now. You probably know what I'm gonna say.
Go ahead.
NFTs.
Blockchain technology, it's not new.
It's not really.
It's actually outdated because of how like bad the environmental impact on it is. But they get.
But crypto bros like money, man, money. Like, fuck the trees. I don't give a fuck.
A lot of them are slowly starting to give a fuck about those things, you know, because of the sheer amount of them that are getting scammed. But yeah,
and the regulations that are going to be coming down, maybe.
Fingers crossed that Microsoft doesn't go full blown on the NFT train, because if that happens and they're the king of gaming,
and then they do that,
yeah,
dude, it's over.
I know.
But that's at least my thoughts on it in summary. David, you can give yours, your in conclusion on this whole thing.
In conclusion,
like it's an essay.
A pussy good. Cockdick bad.
Sony pussy good.
Sony, no man. I literally couldn't think of.
Him.
I couldn't think of anything to say, man. I honestly think there's a lot of good. You know, the fact that Cockdick is eventually going to be gone, good. I mean, he's like, you know, one of those rich pricks. He's going to get that big payout. Unfortunately, he's still the board of directors for Coca-Cola and among some other things. The guy's literally just a professional rich prick. He actually he has private jets. Like he is as wealthy as they come. That guy, and so that's good at least that he's going to be gone. Hopefully, the workplace culture at Microsoft will be different, because you at least don't hear these horror stories that you've heard about, like from Activision Blizzard. And I'm not saying that they don't happen, but Activision Blizzard did seem exceptional. Like companies will have their stories of sexual harassment. You know what I'm? No, seriously, companies will have their stories of sexually harassment, and HR will try to protect the company as best as they can, because that is their actual job. HR will never give a fuck about you; they give a fuck about protecting the company. And sometimes these stories will leak out. But the stuff that was leaking out of Activision Blizzard is stuff I have never heard from any other company, period. The fact that a woman was driven to suicide, the only way that she thought out was death. The fact that that wasn't the bottom line, you know, and it could have been the bottom line for Microsoft to like buy them and clean them out and stuff like that. It's disgusting. Like, every single time you thought that it couldn't get worse, it did. And you never heard about stuff that bad from any company rather than just Activision Blizzard, period. Even the fucking, like, NFL didn't have a lot of shit that was compared to, like, the heinous stuff that was happening at Activision Blizzard. And those are the kinds of people that literally, half the time, look the other way when, like, their star fucking linebacker, like, beats the shit out of their wife in an elevator. The fact that there's a debate as to whether that guy should be fired. You know, like, that's disgusting. And even Activision Blizzard, a lot of that stuff was worse. So.
But someone died. That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Someone actually died.
Yeah, someone actually died. So the fact that this is a big buyout, that does seem like the most efficient way that there could possibly be a cultural shift, is just when there's completely fucking different people in charge. What are they going to do? They're going to get a guidance counselor to come in to fucking Activision Blizzard and be like,
do you know how many psychologists?
Sexual harassment is bad. Okay, and you people here at Activision Blizzard, okay, you shouldn't really be doing that, okay? It's bad. Okay? You know what I mean? Like, what were they gonna do? Pricks like that who, like, run with the devil that way aren't gonna wake up one day and change the fucking error of their ways. Yeah. People who do that shit to women belong in one place, and that is fucking prison. That is where they belong, or dead.
Word.
Not that I'm gonna kill nobody. Don't wish death upon people, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So the fact that a whole nother company bought them out, like, completely different leadership, completely different, like, environment, work culture, hopefully. That's good. That's the best way that this could have possibly changed for the employees, in my opinion, unless they just quit or leave for another company. So,
but for gamers, though, for the long term.
No, I was just going over everything. We're going, like, in conclusion, like, I was going over everything. And for gamers, Game Pass is a pretty sweet deal as of right now. But the worst way, the thing that I could see this being bad for gamers, like you mentioned, is if the conglomerate, like, really becomes that much of a conglomerate where the service just becomes so shitty. Like you said, $1 trillion company, they can't fucking fix these community servers, or they rebrand it as something new. Here's the thing, Dennis. What if they just don't do that? What if they don't care? What if they just don't do that?
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do, because now you have to play these games on the Xbox.
Just rub their nipples right in front of the players.
Yeah.
Right in front of the gamers. Just be like, oh, sorry, man.
I think that part's the most loaded question out of everything, is literally how could it be for gamers? Because Game Pass is a pretty sweet deal right now, but like I said, you know, the more powerful these companies become, it can get a little worse. You know what I mean? There's just so much that's still up in the air. So truth be told, Dennis, I don't think I can answer that question. I don't know.
We'll come back in 5-10 years.
I think for now, I literally think for now it's going to be good, but there's so much that can change in the industry down the line. What with Square Enix like calling on companies to try to like put NFTs into all their games because they're big on that train.
My eyes.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to do that. Like they could be looking at that, and be like, eesh. And among other things, that's the question that I think like for now, at least for me, is impossible to answer. I don't have the business sense for that. So right now, good. Later on down the line. Who knows?
For the
maybe
short and
bad
midterm?
with the way that the industry in general is going, because I think the gaming industry in general is just going down a really shitty path right now. But I guess that's my answer for that.
Definitely, I guess for both of us, we could agree. Like short and midterm, good. Long term, TBD. Don't really know right now. Like TBA, we have no idea. And I'm personally leaning more on the not so good side of things, just because like we've seen the history of monopolies and what they produce after they become one, which is subpar quality as far as like the products and services are concerned. Because it's like, why do we need to bother being better? Because no one's competing against us. Competition breeds innovation, as everyone also knows, but I don't know if we're going to get that in the next couple of years, considering like what the acquisition means for also its competitors. I mean, Nintendo doesn't really matter again, because Nintendo's just outside in the parking lot playing with trucks while Sony's literally just getting fisted by fucking Microsoft. So just draining that lake, man.
Drink your milkshake.
But guys, that was our episode to Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And I know for a lot of you couldn't give us a fuck about this, but this is something that does pertain closely to us, as we're gamers out here, guys. So at least if you liked it, like it. If you didn't, I don't know. There's a dislike bar anymore, so go fuck yourself, I guess. But like, and if you liked it so much, leave a comment.
YouTube
how much
out here.
protecting
the Double D Corporation.
Protecting content creators everywhere. Did you hear about that? I know this, like, we already said we're wrapping this up, but did you hear about how YouTube's CEO has defended their decision and said it's reduced harassment? And I'm like,
the creators can still see the dislikes in their analytics.
Like, what the fuck do you mean?
It literally just protects no one but corporations, man. The amount of
so
shit that gets
stupid,
dogged on
man.
because you see the ratio.
God.
They did it to prevent ratios. They saw the power of ratios, and they didn't want people to be like, oh, ratio plus you're white plus you fell off plus, all that dumb shit. Oh my god. Fuck you. Fuckity fucks. But anyway, we are on more than just YouTube. We are also available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Radio Breaker,
I was doing like the finger guns, and then I smacked my microphone by accident. My bad, guys, if you heard that.
I watched that whole thing unfold. I saw it with my own eyes.
I saw Microsoft take its big schlong into Sony. You just don't see that anymore.
It was a schlong that was bigger than Glasgow.
It made the Queen blush.
Jesus. We got so much shit mixed up there. Yeah, but we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. We're gonna have a bit of a different plug for you guys next week, most likely. And shit. Shoutouts to Remy asking how we get sponsors. I don't know. It just, you use certain services and they have like sponsorship programs. It's not like I reached out to, fucking, what is that website? Adam and Eve? Like Critical did. And like, because like Critical, his whole brand is like, he has one of the world's biggest collection of dildos. Like he literally does. So the fact that he got sponsored by a sex website like that sells sex products is kind of just too perfect. But we're not sponsored by them. So
I wouldn't mind.
I honestly
Adam and Eve, shout us out.
I wouldn't mind either, man. I'm telling you, the second that we have a porn star on this podcast, people are gonna be like, "What? Oh my god!" But it's like,
it's over.
Literally, like it's. What are you talking about? They're people. They talk about their industry. They're actors. They had to like pay their dues.
They're not just a series of holes, guys, for your entertainment.
Those holes can speak. They can speak. So yeah,
I never mind.
Follow. We're done. We're going off too long. Follow the podcast on all these different platforms and all that stuff. Spotify, Anchor, all that good stuff. On YouTube. Send us in your questions. You can email us at what was the email, Dennis?
The Double D Experience 2001 at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Or you could also DM us on our
2021.
Instagram too.
2021.
Yeah,
not
2021.
2001. Yeah.
That is true. That is true. And you could also follow us on our Instagram and also follow us on our Twitter and no Facebook because Facebook was the birthplace of an insurrection. So we're not gonna fucking ever advertise them ever. And also, like David said, we are also on our other platforms such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and all the other ones that are going to be in our affiliate links down below. And guys, why don't you give us your thoughts about this acquisition? If you like it or you don't like it, how do you feel about it? Do you not give a fuck? You could even tell us that too. Anything to kind of get that algorithm to notice us. Notice us, algorithm senpai, please. Please, like throw us a bone here, algorithm senpai. And
algorithm senpai. Please notice me.
But guys, this is probably the first episode this year that I actually wrote notes on and actually was like, not that I don't take our other episodes seriously, but at least this one I wanted to do my own research on it and at least be prepared as far as that happened.
Give us your fucking thesis for your shitty college video game class that you took that your professor made you write about the Microsoft Blizzard.
What'd you make in Full Sail University? You know, that university everyone goes to.
Yeah, you can go ahead and copy paste that in the comments below. I'm sure it won't get flagged for being too long automatically or some shit, but I'll fix that in the post. So we're done. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll stay tuned. Stay tuned for next week. We might have a special guest on for next week's episode. No promises though as to who it is, or we're not going to reveal who it is. And lastly, I don't know when this it's going to be going on, but I guess I'll reveal this. I was interviewed by the Gigless podcast recently about my journey as a creative person, through my journey through YouTube and content creation and Smash commentary and voice acting and pretty much every creative endeavor I did. And we talked real in depth about the creative struggles of a person and my personal struggles as a person as well. So it was real, it was fun, it was funny, and it gets sad at points as well. So that will be down in the description below if it's out yet, or by the time this episode comes out, which I don't know if it will be. It should definitely be up by next week. But shout outs to our friends at Gigless, Remy and Dane. Check out their podcast in the description below, and that's pretty much it. Yeah,
I think we covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah.
Everything that we said before, as far as the long term, remains to be seen. But one thing remains: you got to drink that milkshake.
Drink more milkshake. Go drink some milkshakes for us, boys. All right. See you later. Bye-bye. Lights off.